In the movie The Shawshank Redemption, there is this quiet banker, Andy Dufresne. He is sentenced to life in the Shawshank prison for a crime he complains he didn't commit. And inside this brutal prison system, he builds friendships, he protects his inner world, and he holds on to something most inmates lose, which is hope. You see, when you are imprisoned, no matter how it is that you are imprisoned, yes, it can be something you are imprisoned for and you have to stay there for 20 years or whatever, or you are in a marriage, or you are in a relationship somehow to an organization, to a whatever it is. Don't ever, promise yourself, don't ever lose hope. From that movie, I'm going to give you some quotes, some inspirations. So if you choose to go and back and see the Shawshank Redemption, think about those quotes, because there is really something in this movie that you can learn something from. The film is about injustice. First of all, he claims he was never involved in anything related to that crime. Second, resilience. Keep showing up, keep doing, keep stepping up. And then the long game of freedom. Freedom is not something that you are automatically given just because you live in a certain country, come from a certain family, have a certain background, whatever. Has nothing to do with it. Freedom comes from in here, my friend. So the first one I want to talk to you about is hope is a discipline. It's something you choose to do, and I will give you some very personal experience about that later. You see, Andy, the character, he refuses to let the prison define him and who he is. You see, they, whoever they are, the prison system, the family, the religion, the political party, the nation, whatever, they can lock up your body. They can physically, yes, I have tried it, but not your mind. I was there. Remember, I told you in my American Dream video, I was more or less locked up. Well, I was locked up in the way that my freedom was taken away because my passport and my personal documentation was taken away from me. And as a foreigner in another country, you have to be able to provide proof and documentation you are who you are. So they can lock your body, but not your mind. Please remember that. And the lesson I would like to get from this hope is a discipline, and we will come back to it. External circumstances do not get automatic access to your inner world. Think about it. Let that thing in. External circumstances does not automatically get access to your inner world, only if you let them. You can let external things, let that happen and get access to your inner world and define who you are as an individual. Maybe you want to think about it and say, no, but I cannot do this because, well, whatever. It's so sorry for me. I feel so sorry for me. I can't have this anymore. I can't. And everybody is doing it. No. Everybody is only doing it because you fucking let them. You have to remember that. And it goes for everything. It goes for the pain you have on a daily basis. Even if it's for 60 years, you have pain every day. Don't let it define you. the diagnosis that you got from a hospital or whatever institution with their preferences, with their diagnostic tools, may or may not be right. It's how you accept it, how you, all the way down to DNA level. Are you accepting something forgiven? Are you accepting that death sentence given to you by the doctor? Or are you among the hundreds of thousands of people every year who says, not this guy, not this girl, not this person. I am going to prove and I'm going to survive and I'm going to show everything that I can do it. I'm going to show myself that I can get past this. There is anecdotal evidence in the hundreds of thousands. You don't need to look far to find it. Because these things, these setbacks, they are conditions. It's not your identity. How can a doctor, how can a psychologist, how can a whoever person come and put something, a label on you, go and say, yo, this is how it is. Now you are stuck with this condition or this illness or whatever. Okay, you say, then I change my identity. No. You will always be you. You will always be that strong person that really can do things. Don't let it get into your inner world. And especially when we come to, for example, pain or a diagnosis or something, a setback, do you live it? Do you live your pain? Is it defining who you are as a person? No, you don't have to. You know, when I was in my first marriage, one of my brothers-in-laws, I was talking to my ex-father-in-law, and he said, yeah, it's so bad for my son and so, and he has so many setbacks, and it's really bad for him. First he had this, and then he had that, and now he can't do this, and then he experienced that when he was in military service, and it's really, I was like, what, Johnny? What are you talking about? Look at my life. I'm not better than anyone. I'm not worse than anyone. I can mention 3, 4, 5 things for every one you told about him, about your son. Yet here I am supporting the family, supporting your daughter, your grandchildren, supporting you and my beloved mother-in-law. This is not who you are. This can never define who you are as a person. Just forget that. Don't let a diagnosis or a setback or some pain define who you are as a person. Never let that happen. The second is, I want you to think about playing the long game. You see, Andy, in this movie, he spends nearly 2 decades, my friend, 2 decades preparing very quietly, because noise in this case would give him extra time, right? So what you need to learn from this, freedom is built in small increments, in silence, in the dark. Freedom is what you do and what you build when you're alone, when you're trying to do something. It's all the invisible actions that you do that actually counts and gives you freedom. It's not the bold move. Yeah, I jumped off a skyscraper and I landed in a pond and everything was fantastic. No. You have to learn, have to do the small steps, have to take the invisible actions. You see, in bodybuilding, we talk about, we see it every January. You see it in the gyms across the globe. January, it flows in with tons of new people. And what is the first they look at? Us, old timers, people who have done this for years. Yeah, these big dudes, it's just steroids and special food and they are cheating. That's basically what they're saying. We are cheating. But hey, buddy, in 1987, we were already doing it. Were you? Or were you even born? And now you blame us for cheating? Just because we did a couple of million repetitions when you were not even there. Play the long game. You see, when we talk about, especially if we talk about the gym, right? We say it starts with motivation. But that only lasts a week or two. Look at the gym again. It fills up with the first 2 or 3 weeks of January. Next comes the discipline. Okay, now the work starts. Now the fun is over, the work really gets to you. Third, when the discipline is really getting hard, then you turn it into a lifestyle. But what would I do if I don't go here? What is my alternative? Do I really want to pay the price? You're going to choose your pain anyway. And you're going to choose, yeah, I don't have time for gym. What? You don't have time for gym? No, but like me, on a bad day, I spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours on social media. And I'm not the only one. I'm no better than anyone. But I have a lifestyle. I know I want to, I need to, I will go to the gym. I will do it because I choose my pain. I either don't have time now to go to gym and live healthy, or I will have to find time to be in the hospital, being sick and living off poor hospital food. You choose your pain. You choose your time. You choose what to do. And you know, if you're just a bit honest, there is time in your schedule. And if not, you don't have time to live. If you don't have time to live healthy, you're going to have time to be in the hospital bed being very, very sick. You have to think about this. You have to really dig down deep and find this. Well, I've seen it. I've seen it more times than I can count. And you have too. You have seen the people like, yeah, he was stressing and working and stressing for 2 years and now he has a heart attack. Surprise. He didn't take care of himself, but he played his long game, which was ended up being a short game because he wanted to impress a boss, impress some co-workers or make $1 million or whatever. I don't care. He didn't have time to be healthy. So think about that. The massive transformation is usually built boring and up close. When I'm going later today to the gym, it's to do a couple of hundred repetitions for today's going to be triceps because it's my triceps day. Are you going to notice anything? No. I? My wife? Anyone else? No. But when next January comes, someone comes into the gym, yeah, these big bodybuilders, they're like, well, they're just cheating. Once or twice a week, I beat the living hell out of my triceps. So if I do that 50 or 100 times going to gym in 1 year, is that cheating or is that really hard work? So losing weight or getting a great physique actually comes from thousands of small choices, thousands of repetitions. And they can be boring, believe me. But at one point, if the weight is heavy enough, you forget about boring when you're holding how many kilos, however that is, over your head and you have to lift it. Or you're going to smash your glasses. I did that this week. I hit my glasses with a dumbbell. So tiny habits, daily repetitions, and like Andy from the Shawshank movie, slow tunnel building, digging out the tunnel in dark, in moist, in loneliness. That's where you grind. That's where you build freedom, the strength, everything you need to do. You see, imagine having a teaspoon and say, hey, you gotta dig a tunnel from here down, under the ground, over to the next house, up again, and then you have freedom. It's 100 meters. Yes, honey, it's hard, but that's freedom. It will give you. You have to keep digging. You dig down in your soul and do it. The third about Andy, he uses, because he's an accountant, right? And he's a quite clever accountant. He uses his financial skills to become indispensable in the prison. How does that work? It doesn't matter if you're an accountant or the best at knitting hats or whatever you do. When you can't change the system, you have the need and you will be forced to increase your value inside the system. There is always a way you can increase value. Your job is to define what that value is that the system could benefit from, and then use that as a barter, as a payment tool, whatever. In my case, I was numbers blind until I was 28, right? I couldn't do the math. I was making it in an engineering environment, but I had to find another way, right? I always had this urge, liking, need, call it talent maybe, something I could feel in my fingers. So I gave massages. I took away pain. But I needed a way to capitalize it. Sometimes barter, sometimes nowadays it's only for money, but that's the same thing. I found a way within a system. I wasn't as good as I could have been, or maybe I could, I don't know, with the math and these skills, but I have a success that I enjoy with the massage things, with the pain relief. I found a way to increase my value inside the system. So the lesson that I want you to think about here is skill beats complaining. Don't complain. And you know what? People around you, they really get tired of hearing you complain. Do you want to hear someone who every time complain and complain? Every time you meet them, they complain. I have people in my circle of friends or acquaintances that honestly, for the last 15 years, there's only been maybe 1 or 2 days that was good. Complaining. If it's not this, it is the other. If it's not those two, there will be a third thing. Believe me. Is everything is good? If everything else, oh yeah, but yes, nice house, nice car, everything, but, and that's the focal point. I don't feel good there. I feel stressed about this. Why always me? So you see, in the dark seasons where it's worst for you, you have to build up something strong in yourself. I remember very clearly when I took that decision myself. It was in 2015. I was living in US, and me and my ex living in US, we have had, again, some arguments about whatever, right? There was never peace there. We meet my sister-in-law in the supermarket. And I honestly looked like a train wreck. Emotionally, I was really hammered. I felt bad. After that, when I met her, she was like, hey guys, how are you? Oh, she said, John, is it that bad? And I said, yeah, it's hell. I can't have it anymore. It's like, I know, John, I told you. I told you to think twice. Yeah, but so and so, and bad excuses, right? At that instant, I remember I can go there without a GPS. I can drive there straight. I remember the supermarket, Lowe's, no, Shaw's in in that city. I made that promise with myself. I made a contract for life with myself. No matter what is going on in my life, and someone asked me, how's going today? How are you? Nice to see you. Thank you. You know what? I'm happy. I'm happy and I'm busy and I'm healthy and I'm wealthy. And, I deliberately beat myself into submission of transforming my belief system to look at the positive. And I'm not letting go of it. Never. Who wants to hear and be nice and talk to and be friendly with someone who always like, yeah, then this happened and then gravity put in and then the weather and then the sun and then the rain and the family, the finances? You can change only a few of them. So if someone is like, but how can you be so positive? I know this happened to you. I know that happened to you. And you're always smiling. Yeah. Because you know what? Today is the best Thursday of this week. I've never had a better Thursday this week. Thank you. But how can you say that? Because, and mentioning small things, I had my favorite monster this morning. It tasted awesome. And a couple of hours later, I went to the fridge. I took some ice cubes. I poured a Coke Zero into it, and I enjoyed it. It's fantastic. Who wouldn't? I mean, I'm so rich, right? I am so filthy rich. I can go to the fridge and pick up my favorite drink any day of the week. I can go and make a sandwich with the best butter, and I love it. Those are the small things that builds resilience, that really changes who you are. So have an awesome day no matter what. It will eventually change how you see the world. You can see the dark or you can see the light. It's up to you. Don't let it change your narrative. And the narrative is the next thing we're going to talk about. Guard it like your life depends on it. Guard your inner narrative. You see, many inmates in a prison, they become institutionalized. It literally, they fear the freedom. And already back in the 1960s, there was a Danish movie about a character, very famous Danish character, an actor, and he hated the freedom. And I remember it so clearly that, he was let out of prison. He was like, I can't be out in this world. He went out, bought a hammer, and he went and committed a horrible crime. And he went and reported himself. I just killed that person. It was not a violent movie as such, but it was a movie about he couldn't stand the freedom. So do you fear the freedom? Do you fear the freedom of not having pain? Do you fear the freedom of the setbacks? Is that what you fear? Has it defined you so badly that you don't know how to live life without having it? What if they, he, him, her, didn't chase you any longer? We have talked about that in another video. What if they died and they did something to you that was so bad and you didn't even know they died? They still have an anchor to your heart in you. It's your choice to define and guard your inner narrative. Don't be institutionalized. If you stay too long time in limitation, you know what? It's going to define you and it's going to become comfortable. The distance from your sofa to your kitchen, to the secret drawer with all the candy, and going back and sit and watch television all day long, that jail that you live in is gonna come comfortable because you don't even want to go and face the world. You know what we said during COVID to many people? The more I stay at home, the more homeless I look. You dress up worse and worse. You don't groom yourself. You don't get ready. You don't talk to people. Your home or even your bed becomes your palace of safety. Is that what you want? I told you about my American wife, and she was like that. She sat in her bed from 5 o'clock in the morning, went down and took a little food. Only vegan, of course, a few leaves of lettuce. Went back. Her palace of safety, her prison, was her bed. She was sitting in bed all day long. I went to the fitness. I did the shopping. I went out, even though I didn't know the community. I went out. I got up. I got ready. Went to gym. Spoke to people. Tried to make new acquaintances and friendships in the gym and wherever, because I wouldn't let that define me. Don't let your nervous system adapt to confinement, because that is going to be then your future. You see, when I got my second knee replacement operation, I worked hard to prepare, because I didn't want to let that operation define me. I did what I could to prepare for that. I went in the morning at 7 o'clock. Before 12, I was standing up on my own and doing calf raises and walking on my own in the hallway. Went to toilet, nothing helped. No help from staff. When they came in afterwards, okay, there was a little extra blood in the bandages, but hey, it was just a little blood, right? We were in a safe place, so they changed the bandages, and by 3 o'clock, I went out, and my poor wife, she was like, "You are crazy," and I said, "Yeah, but could we please go and see that client, because I need to visit them." I had the knee replacement surgery. That's quite a big operation. I had that same day I went to see the client, and they were laughing at me. 5 days later, my wife calls me, "Where the hell are you?" Sorry, honey, I was 5 kilometers away from home, walking without crutches, without any support. I didn't want that operation to define me. I didn't want that narrative changed in my life, that I was the poor guy with a new knee. At the same time, even a couple of years earlier, when I had my first operation, there was a woman who had knee operation also. She went to gym 2 times a week. Or no, not really gym. She went to warm water walking with corks around her waist. She did that for 20 minutes and she walked back. I promise you, changing her clothes was a bigger act of training than walking in the water. She can't work now. She has too much pain. And I think she have exhausted her Netflix account. She have seen everything. Is that going to define her? It did. So breaking free from those narratives, that these confinement narratives, that makes free feeling unsafe at first. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means you have to break free. You have to do these things and move on. And then to make this even better, the number 5, small actions compound. You see, Andy chips away at freedom in the movie. In the most unglamorous way, he's crawling in dirt in a tunnel. No one knows about it. No one. He has his spoon and he's digging and chipping and chipping and chipping. Pebble by pebble. He's digging his way away to freedom. While he's doing the other things, while he's not letting himself go down the drain as a person, he keeps strong. So progress is often very, very microscopic. And then until one day it isn't. What do you think? Then he goes and then look, and he comes up in a garden somewhere, right? He comes through the ground. Freedom. He can smell the air. He can smell freedom. You see, when you want to build a great physique, and that goes for everything in life, when you want to lose a lot of weight, the first 10 kilos you lose, they're going to be the hardest, because you have to change everything, the habits, the things that you do on a daily basis. Reduce the intake of your comfort food, yet it's going to be totally invisible. No one is going to say anything at 5 kilo or 7 kilos. If you're lucky, someone will say something after 10 kilos. And now the motivation is about to drain out, so now we go into the discipline phase. Now the hard work keeps going. You notice it, that you are losing weight. They notice it, people around you. And now it's getting easier. Also because now you see the results, you have new habits built in, and now it's a lifestyle. And you know what's going to happen? I promise you. Been there. Setbacks. Don't let the setbacks, don't let them ruin you. But it's the small actions compounded, one on top of the other, one on top of the other, that builds a great physique. There is no way about it. It's the hundreds of thousands of repetitions we talked about before. That's for you. So the lesson for you is consistency is not the same as intensity. If I go to gym today and I work my behind to pieces and I wait 1 month before I go next time, do you think that's going to build any kind of good physique? But I will be going 12 times per year. Yeah. So what? We're talking about daily, weekly things. Small actions every day. Yes, I know you need a day or two as rest days. The body needs to recover. But you have to keep going. There's no other way. Guard your narrative. Guard everything you have. Be that consistent. Don't let the setbacks and the pain and all these things define you. We say in bodybuilding, you don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're done. That's just how it is. You don't stop because, you don't go because, you go because you have to. Because that's your inner narrative. I want to achieve this, and this is how I do it. Fuck the motivation. Fuck the discipline. I don't care. Keep going. That's your lifestyle. Because, like with Andy in the movie, that tunnel to freedom is dug in silence, utterly silence. You're not going to go on the stage and come into the spotlight and people are cheering on you. No, nobody. You are going to work in silence. You dig the tunnel to freedom in silence. Then what about friendships? Number 6. The bond between Red and Andy becomes his emotional oxygen. Because when you isolate yourself, you weaken your resilience. Like we talked about before, the more you stay at home, the more homeless you look. There's no oxygen, there's no fresh input. You don't need to groom even. Why would I groom myself to go from the bed to sit in my chair, to sit in my sofa and watch television? No one cares. And you're going to look like shit. Go talk to someone, pray to someone or something. Have inner positive dialogues if you don't meet someone. Never say, no, it's so bad, it's so bad. No, find things to be grateful for. I've talked about this so many times. Be grateful for the small things. Because hope inside of you spreads through the connection to a God wherever, connection to people, connection to the strong wish for a better life, whatever that is. You see, community with other people or other entities regulates the nervous system. That's just how it is. So, what I want you to do is this is one of the movie's most quoted lines ever, and I'm quite sure you have heard it or similar. Get busy living or get busy dying. End of story. And this is a key point. And I've said this for years in the gym and to every person. I mean, if I have a client in my clinic, they're hearing this one day or in one shape or form of the other. In life, you have two choices. You will make one of them, no doubt. Because you will either be the youngest at the nursery home or the oldest at the gym. And I know what I'm going to be. I'm going to be that old bastard that stares at a hot woman's body because I can, because I'm a bastard. But it doesn't matter. Do you want to sit as the youngest at the nursery home? Yeah, I had some busy years in my 30s and 40s, but I messed up completely my whole body. Is that now you have time to sit in a nursing home? I found time to go to gym. Many of my friends, they find ways. They go 5 o'clock in the morning. They go at midnight. I mean, me and my wife, we have been going Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve or the day of our anniversary. It doesn't matter. This is our lifestyle. It's not our prison. It's our choice of freedom. It's our narrative. We are getting busy living because we don't want to get busy dying. Passivity, if you want to become passive in things, that's just a slow surrender. You're just surrendering. Imagine Andy never chose to dug that tunnel for himself, and he didn't want to do anything. He would just surrender to prison. First of all, there would be nothing to talk about, would there? There would be no movie. You see, you don't just drift randomly into freedom. You choose it. That's a deliberate act of action. You choose freedom and you work for it. Even in prison, even when you are in prison, you can choose freedom in here, in your heart. You choose freedom. That's how life is. You don't drift into freedom. You choose freedom. Freedom to speak, freedom to talk, freedom to communicate, to be with someone, to be positive, because positivity is actually freedom. So the Shawshank Redemption movie isn't really about a prison. Try to see it from another point. It's about the invisible prisons that people accept. Are you accepting bed, sofa, kitchen, and back? Occasionally going to the toilet? Is that the prison you choose? Do you accept the prison of fear? Do you accept the prison of routine? Do you accept the prison of low expectations? Do you accept the worst prison of them all? But this is just how my life is. That's how life turned out for me. No. No. You decide how your life is. No one else can do that. Someone can put restraint or pressure or chains over your head. But you see, the thing is, no wall surrounding you is thicker or stronger or harder than a resigned mindset. No wall is thicker than a resigned mindset.